Let's do this. Before we start, I don't want to hear it. Do not judge me for putting ice cubes in my wine, okay? I like it cold. Some girls like it cold. Hello everyone, welcome back to my vlog channel. Today I am filming my annual worst books of the year video. So pour yourself a glass of wine if you're above the age of 21, or a glass of water if you're sober, and let's talk about some books that were bad, that I did not enjoy, that I do not recommend. There is a chance that I may talk shit about your favorite book. There's a chance that we might have a difference of opinion. I'm cool, we can disagree. That's what makes life fun. Because today I'm gonna be brutally honest, and it has nothing to do with the authors of these books or people that love these books. It is just about the books themselves and my experience reading them. Okay, let's get started. These are my 10 worst books that I read in 2023. And yes, I managed to rank them this year from worst to least worst, but you know, still very bad. And I think for suspense purposes, we should go from least worst to the most worst. And that way I can be more drunk by the end to talk about the worst ones. So let's get started. Most of these I don't physically own, so I'm probably just gonna have to insert a photo of the cover. But number 10, still bad, but the least bad, is gonna go to Still Beating by Jennifer Hartman. I can see why so many people love this. It's a dark romance about this girl and her sister's fiance or sister's husband, I'm not sure. They get kidnapped together by a serial killer, and it's like a twisted, dark romance. I like to dabble here and there in the dark romances, and I've read some that I've enjoyed, but this one didn't do it for me. The writing style was good. The storyline was interesting in theory, but Dean and Cora, the main characters, were so unlikable. I could not stand them. Like, you know the main characters are fucking bad when you like the serial killer in the book more. I'm not saying I liked the serial killer, but I'm just saying, like, if I had to rank them, they'd probably be on the same tier, which is like, what the fuck? I hated the characters so much that I couldn't even finish the book, because why would I read a romance about characters that I hate? So, cheers to these losers. All right, coming in at number 9, we have Court of the Vampire Queen by Katie Robert. This book was just unserious as hell. If you are wanting a 600-page mammoth of nothing but wild vampire threesomes, then like this will tickle your pickle and this will do it for you, okay? But this was sold on the stand in Target. And so when I picked it up from the fantasy section of Target, I was expecting an actual plot and story, and the so-called plot that Katie Robert tried to like add in was just so absurd, okay? Like, you're telling... I don't even know if I can say this with a straight face. You're telling me that she needs an earth-shattering orgasm in order to break this spell. And the only way that it's possible to achieve that level of earth-shattering orgasm is by her being double penetrated. Like, that's the plot that we get in this book. So, there was also this weird emphasis on her being a virgin, and like, why are we still doing that in 2023? Like, can we stop? So, cheers to not giving a fuck about virginity. It's a construct. Who cares? Number 8, we have Paper Princess by Erin Watt. I'd like to preface by saying that this book was published in 2016, so I think it's one of the oldest ones on this list, but it definitely reads like it was published in 2016 as well, which you can take that as you wish. There's just a lot of I'm not like other girls energy coming from the main character, and I feel like that was super prevalent at that time. That was when I was in high school. I remember it well. There are also these really weird relationships with older men that are being romanticized. It just... yeah, I don't know. Definitely stick to Erin Watt, aka Elle Kennedy's newer works. I just think that this one read like it was written by a pervy old man. So, cheers to fucking your step-cousins. Like, aren't they kind of related? I don't know. This is like Credence, but badly written. I realize I'm not really going into detail about the plot of these books. Like, some of them I did and some of them I didn't. And you're just gonna have to roll with it because I don't know what to tell you. Coming in at number 7, we have Falling for Temptation by MJ Hendricks. I hated this book so much, I went on a whole ass rant on my Patreon podcast. A whole ass rant, like a 20-minute rant, breaking down how much I hated this book. It's supposed to be like a bad girl, good boy romance. And it's about this boy who grew up in this super religious family, and he was very sheltered. And he convinces his family to let him move away and go to college. And when he goes to college, he shows up and he meets our main character. And they fall in love. And she's like the bad girl. Okay, that sounded really fun. I got religious trauma. I was into it. For nearly the entire book, I thought this would end up being a run-of-the-mill, like 3-star Wattpad-esque story. It was kind of cheesy, but it was fun. It was fine. The writing wasn't bad. And then I got to the 80% mark, okay? And remember when I told you that they meet in college? So at the 80% mark, it's revealed that our main character is actually underage and has been lying about her age this entire time. And, like, this is a plot twist that, like, has no actual impact on the story. Like, it could have been cut and the story would have functioned the exact same. So I just felt so disrespected by the author for labeling this book as an adult book and feeding me not 1, not 2, but 3 sex scenes, and then afterwards telling me that I was reading about a minor. Don't waste your time with this one, okay? Cheers to correctly labeling our books. Oh no, I spilled. Number 6, we have Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. Oh, this is Book Talk's beloved, and I wanted to love it too, okay? But this was honestly the least romantic romance I have ever read. I couldn't even finish it because Declan gave me a physical, in real life ick, and I just had to stop reading. Has a book boyfriend ever given you an ick? Like a man in a book ever given you an ick so bad that you DNF'd the book? Because that happened to me here. Hey, this book did teach me, though, that billionaire romance is not for me. And while I don't, like, avoid billionaire romance completely, I just think that this book showcases billionaire romance in the worst way. This book basically just follows Declan and Iris. Declan is this billionaire businessman and Iris is his personal assistant. The entire book, Declan just treats Iris like garbage. He walks all over her. And so this entire book is just basically a woman teaching a man how to behave like a respectful human being. And I was not into it, okay? Iris deserved better. Thank you, next. Cheers to eating the rich. Number 5. Some of you might be shocked that this isn't a little bit higher, but it is the highly anticipated sequel to Fourth Wing, which I did give 4 stars and really enjoyed. We have Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. This is the second biggest disappointment of the year. My first one is coming next. But honestly, I kind of expected this one to flop a little bit more so. Just, my review of this book is that one Abby Lee Miller clip.
Boring. Yawning, sloppy, lazy.
If you're unfamiliar, this is the second book in a series that follows a girl named Violet who enters this Dragon Rider Academy. Okay, it's a fantasy romance series. But this second book in the series, wow, it is bad. I'm not joking when I say that at least 200 pages of this book could have been cut out, and there are typos everywhere. I mean, if you have the edition from Red Tower Books in the US, just look at the dedication page. The plot twist at the end is just such a Sarah J. Maas wannabe. Like, Dorian did it better. Dorian really did it better. So, I don't know. The romance couldn't even save it because it was so repetitive and heavy, just info dumping. And so I was like, hey, maybe the romance can at least get me through it. But no, because all you get this book is just a bunch of miscommunication over and over and over and over again with some mediocre smut. So, Fourth Wing was fun, but I'm sensing that this series may be a one-hit wonder. I don't know. But cheers to the dragons, because that's literally the only reason why I read this book. Coming in at number 4, we have My Biggest Personal Disappointment. Definitely not like the worst written or any means, probably the best written on this list actually, but it personally victimized me, so it's in the top 4. We have A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. Did Evangeline lose her memories or did the author? Because what the fuck was this? This felt completely disconnected from the first 2 books. There were so many plot holes that were just left unanswered. There were characterizations that seemed so random. There were entire chunks of the story and entire characters just completely left out of this entire book. Where was Lucian? Where was her sister, Marcia or whatever? To have that many plot holes after having 2 finished trilogies and 6 books in this world is ridiculous. And the epilogue hints at a spin-off series. And I swear to God, if we get a spin-off about Apollo within the next 2 or 3 years, mark my words, no thank you. I will not be reading any more books from this author because from what I've heard, it seems like she is a trilogy finale flop. Jax and Evangeline just deserved so much better, and an HEA is not enough. It's not enough. Cheers to plot holes and publishing cash grabs. Now it's time for the top 3. I'm gonna take a big old gulp before each of our top 3. So, number 3, drumroll please. We have Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton, my 3rd worst book of the year. This is probably not shocking to most of you if you know me and my taste. If you love this book, I love and respect you as a reader, okay? But in my opinion, as a sexual assault survivor, this felt like it was just romanticizing sexual assault. However, that is not why it's on the worst books, because if you look up the trigger warnings, it says non-con, okay? It says dub-con, it says non-con, so I'm not gonna hate a book for the content that I should expect going in. But I do hate this book for another reason, and that is the insta-love and the completely unrealistic characters. These characters make no fucking sense, and they have 0 rational thought. Zayd's character itself is so contradictory, and it's just unbelievable in every aspect. I'm still wondering, 600 pages later, what about Addie did Zayd even like? How are we gonna have insta-love, insta-obsession in a 600-page romance book? I don't think I mentioned, but this is a stalker romance, if you didn't know. It's a dark romance, stalker romance, super twisted. But Zayd just sees Addie from across the room and instantly becomes obsessed with her, and that doesn't do it for me. Even Joe from You had more personality and more rational thoughts in his head than Zayd Meadows did, okay? I don't care what y'all want to tickle your pickle to late at night for the Haunting Adeline stands, but this is not a good book, objectively. Cheers to trigger warnings, because you fucking need them. All right, coming in at number 2, we have an entire series, okay? Because I grouped them all together because all of my critiques fit every book in this series. My 2nd worst book of the year, drumroll please. The Shatter Me series by Tahira Mafi. Wow, these are some of the worst written books I have ever read in my life, okay? The whiny, repetitive, insufferable writing style that this author chose for our main character, Juliet, I just couldn't deal with it, personally. And I think if I would have read this when I was that insufferable, whiny teenager, I probably would have enjoyed this a lot more. I'm convinced that this series is only popular because its fan base read it before their frontal lobe developed. I truly, truly believe that. I don't think anyone above the age of 21 would read this series and enjoy it. Everyone is entitled to love their own teenage garbage. I have mine, you have yours, but we are not going to deny the fact that this is, in fact, still garbage. It claims to be this dystopian fantasy about a girl named Juliet who, if she touches you, it hurts you so bad you could die. But this entire 6-book series has maybe 5 pages of world building, and the rest of it is just the worst writing you've ever read mixed with a really bad love triangle. Definitely the worst book I have read, thanks to Book Talk. Cheers to the Shatter Me stands. Please do not come for me. I love and respect you. I just want peace. My worst book of the year. Drumroll, please. Never by Jessa Hastings. This is her newest release. It is her fantasy romance Peter Pan retelling that came out this year. When I read Magnolia Parks, Jessa Hastings' popular romance series, I thought that her insufferable writing style was a choice that she was making to suit the equally insufferable yet charming nepotism baby that is Magnolia Parks. But picking up another book from her in an entirely different world, in an entirely different series, I'm now starting to realize that maybe her writing style is just insufferable, period. This is a Peter Pan retelling that follows a girl named Daphne who is 17, turning 18, and she gets whisked off to Neverland, and it's basically just a love triangle between Peter Pan and Jameson Hook, who are both like 20-something-year-old men waiting for this 17-year-old girl to turn 18 so they can take her virginity. And Jameson Hook also has like the worst Scottish accent you've ever read in your life. So that's basically the gist. Not only was this a sloppily edited mess that Bloom should not have published, Jessa also brought back her trademark footnotes for this book. And it's like, when is someone going to explain to Jessa Hastings that adding LOL is not enough justification to add footnotes to your romance book? I can appreciate breaking conventional writing forms and making stylistic choices for a specific purpose, for the betterment of your story, to make your book better. Okay? Especially when you're retelling a hugely popular story like Peter Pan. But after reading this book, I am still searching for that purpose. Like, I have no idea why Jessa Hastings does half the shit she does. And some of those things worked when it came to Magnolia Parks, but they don't work here. And then to blame some of the racially targeted language that was used on editing mistakes in your first traditionally published novel is like wild to me. Again, bad. All right, everyone, my glass of wine is gone. We have discussed all 10 of the worst books that I read in 2023. Thank you for reliving that trauma with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, hit that subscribe button. Let me know down below what your worst books of the year were, what books you absolutely hated. Go ahead, feel free to rip them to shreds in the comments below. But be nice, keep it cute when it comes to talking to each other, okay? We're gonna be respectful even if we disagree on book opinions. Everyone can like different books. That's what makes reading fun. I will see you all in my next video, and I will see you next year, hopefully, for more reads. I'm sending you lots of love and light, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!